session 3 of mercy. And I'm going to start with a controversial statement. God is not merciful, but I'll correct it by saying God is mercy. It might be splitting hairs, but I think it makes a little bit of a difference is how we see God's mercy. It's not just one of his characteristics, it's who he is, his very essence. It's the same with saying God is not loving, he is love. It's his very essence. The mercy of God is mentioned time and time again in Scripture, right through the Psalms, right through the whole Bible. In fact, the King James Version has 262 times where it mentions mercy or uses the word mercy. And to look at God's mercy, I want today to just look at a story. It's quite a well-known story. King David was a king who loved God, who served God well. But he was just as open to temptation as any of us. And one day he saw a beautiful woman, Bathsheba, and he lusted after her. Now, her husband was away fighting for David in the Israel army, and he took advantage of this and also took advantage of the fact that he was king and he had the right to command anyone to do anything. And so he had Bathsheba brought to the palace and she couldn't refuse him, and he slept with her. So far, David's fallen for the temptation of lust, and he's also had an abuse of power. Now things don't go well for David because Bathsheba finds out she's pregnant. And David went into let's cover up mode. And he got Uriah to come home from battle on the pretext of finding out how the battle was going. But really it was to try and get him to go home and sleep with Bathsheba, and then people would think the child was his. He didn't bargain on Uriah being a very honest and upright man, and while his fellow soldiers were out in the field fighting, he refused to go home to the luxury of his home. And so David, in final desperation, organised that Uriah be put in the front line of the battle where he would be killed, and he was. David had taken a deadly turn. Bit by bit, he'd gone from lust to murder. When he woke up to what he had done, he knew there was only one thing that he could do, and that was to throw himself on the mercy of God. And so we have Psalm 51. Have mercy on me, O God. And the basis for his trust or his asking for this mercy is this. According to your unfailing love, according to your great compassion, blot out my transgression. God's mercy is based on his unfailing love. Now the psalm continues with David confessing that what he has done was absolutely evil, that God had every right to judge him. But he says in verse 17, the sacrifices of God are a broken spirit, a broken and contrite heart you will not despise, O God. David had complete faith in the love of God, a love that forgives and restores a truly repentant heart. So David was forgiven and he was set free. But there were consequences he had to face. And one of them was that the child born to Bathsheba was very ill and died, and that caused David great grief. God, in his incredible love and forgiveness, forgives and sets us free. Now, we may still have to face some human consequences of what we've done, but spiritually, we are set free. God is mercy. That is who he is.
Oh, the mercy of God, the glory of grace, that you chose to redeem us, to forgive and restore, and you call us your children, chosen in him, to be holy and blameless, to the glory of God, to the praise of his glory and grace, to the praise of his glory and power, to him be all glory, honor the praise of His glory, included in Christ. To the praise of His glorious grace, to the praise